Hi, in this video, we're going to be discussing three of the bones found in the superior or upper limb: the humerus, ulna, and radius. Let's start with the humerus. The humerus, we're going to start from the most superior portion, and we're going to have this rounded structure right at the very top. That rounded structure, that is going to be the head of the humerus. Right now, you're seeing the anterior side of the humerus, right? This will be the head of the humerus. If you notice, and we go more towards the lateral side, right? The head of the humerus is always facing medial. So let's go look at the more lateral side. You're gonna see two projections right there. The more superior projection, that is going to be the greater tubercle, while the more inferior projection, that is going to be the inferior tubercle. Around the neck, around the head of the humerus, we're gonna see the anatomical neck of the humerus, while the surgical neck is going to be inferior to the greater and lesser tubercle. If we keep going down from superior to inferior, we're gonna notice right here, this groove, that is going to be the deltoid tuberosity, right? That's a point of attachment for the deltoid muscle. We go back again to where the tubercles are. Between the tubercles, there is this sort of space right there, or groove, and that is going to be called the intertubercular groove or intertubercular sulcus, right? Located between the greater and lesser tubercle. As we keep going down the shaft of the humerus, we're gonna notice right in the bottom, we have on the lateral side a more rounded projection, while more medially located, we're gonna have a structure that looks kind of like a spool. The more rounded structure, that is going to be the capitulum, and the structure that looks like a spool, that is going to be the trochlea. Right superior to the capitulum and the trochlea, we're gonna have two spaces right there. This one at the right superior to the trochlea, that space right there, that is going to be the coronoid fossa. Coronoid fossa superior to the trochlea, while the fossa superior to the capitulum, that is going to be the radial fossa. Now, if we look on the sides of both trochlea and capitulum, there are two projections. This projection right here will be the medial epicondyle, while the one right next to the capitulum, that is going to be the lateral epicondyle. Again, trochlea, medial to the trochlea, that is going to be the medial epicondyle. Capitulum, so lateral to the capitulum, that is going to be the lateral epicondyle. If we go now to the posterior side of the humerus, we're going to notice this bowl-like structure right there, that fossa, and that bowl-like structure of fossa, that is going to be the olecranon fossa. Why olecranon fossa? When the humerus, when the ulna connects to the humerus, the olecranon process goes right there, the olecranon fossa. Trochlear notch of the ulna is gonna eat the trochlea. If you think about the very top or superior portion of the ulna, kind of like Pac-Man, like a video game, right? It's a big mouth. Olecranon process, trochlear notch, and coronoid process, it fits right in the humerus. Olecranon process goes in the olecranon fossa. The trochlea, that spool, goes inside the mouth of Pac-Man, so in the trochlear notch. And when you do this movement, the coronoid process of the ulna will go up to that fossa right there, the very top, which is the coronoid fossa. How do I know if this is a left or right humerus? Very simple. First, pay attention to the head. The head always has to be facing medial, and it makes perfect sense. Somehow, it has to connect to your body, right? So, head always faces medial. What's the other key? Look for the olecranon fossa. The olecranon fossa is always going to be facing posterior. Following those characteristics, or that description, head facing medial, olecranon fossa, from my point of view, is posterior now. Following that, it's going to match my left arm, like so. Now let's go with the ulna. We already went and discussed a little bit of the ulna, but we're gonna go over it again. The ulna kind of looks like our little wrench, right? Almost looks like a wrench. And I like to think of it as the top part, kind of like Pac-Man. Right? It's a little mouth that is going to eat the trochlea and form what we know as the elbow. So the very top portion, olecranon or olecranon process, the mouth, trochlear notch, and this process in the bottom, that is going to be the coronoid process. All right. Now, right next to the coronoid process, and that is going to be facing lateral if we are in anatomical position. Quick reminder, anatomical position is when you have your arms extended like so, palms facing forward or anterior. All right. So right here on the lateral side, we're gonna notice this indent right there, and that is going to be the radial notch, right? The radial notch. Radial notch because that's where the head of the radius is going to connect. Radial notch. If in the ulna we go and look at the anterior side, we're gonna notice something called the ulnar tuberosity. And the ulnar tuberosity is going to be located right here. Ulnar tuberosity. Following the ulnar tuberosity, we're gonna go to the head of the ulna. And the head of the ulna is going to be on the inferior portion of the bone. It's right there. Right next to the head of the ulna, we have this pointed structure, and that's gonna be the styloid process of the ulna. How do you left or right the ulna? Very simple. The trochlear notch has to be facing anterior, and it makes sense because it has to connect with the humerus. Now, once you identify that, the radial notch is going to be located on the lateral side because the radius is going to be located lateral when we are talking in anatomical position. A quick trick, if you extend your arm in anatomical position, you see your thumb, follow your thumb, that's where the radius is going to be. And if it helps, every radio needs an antenna, right? Every radio needs an antenna. So radius, antenna, thumb. Anatomical position, radius, ulna. All right. Now let's go with the radius. The radius has a very particular head, kind of cylindrical. And if you notice on top or superior in the head of the radius, there's like a little indent. And that little indent or that bowl is the part that basically is going to be superior, right where the capitulum goes. So this will be the head of the radius. This bump sticking out, that's going to be the radial tuberosity. If we go all the way to the most inferior portion of the radius, that's going to be the styloid process of the radius. And If we go to the medial side of the radius, that right there is going to be the radial notch. Sorry, ulnar notch. Why is it called the ulnar notch? Because that's where the head of the ulna is gonna connect. All right? So, how do I know if this is a right or left radius? Well, the radial tuberosity has to be facing anterior. Ulnar notch has to be facing medial towards the ulna. That being said, every radial has an antenna, tuberosity facing anterior, ulnar notch facing medial. That is going to be a left radius, and this will be a left ulna. If I grab them, radial notch with head, ulnar notch with head of ulna, fuse them, and there we go. And that's 3 of the bones from the superior limb. Thanks for watching.